Good afternoon. Well, part of the world, mine anyway, in Arizona. Welcome to Breaking the Silence conversations on addiction, grief, and healing. Dr. Tanya English is with me today. We just recently connected. We are in a collaborative book together that's launching. It's so exciting. I know it's been a long time coming.
And
So
it has. I wrote
I'm
my
excited.
chapter years ago.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I think it's been close to a year that I was invited to the group also.
Mhm.
And it took a whole year to do it. I think it was soon after I, and
Yeah.
it's taken me a long time to write my chapter. I just submitted it like 3 weeks ago.
Good for you.
So I
It's it really
know.
does take some fortitude to sit down and put it on paper.
Well, yeah. And to to stop and relive. My son was 38, and
Mm.
to go back and think about his whole life because this is Doug's story. And it really brought up some new layers of things that I had to process through. And that's why it took me so long. I had to start and stop and start and stop
Mhm.
and kind of evolve, what direction was I going with it.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah.
excited to get to know more about you,
Thanks.
and, what you're doing in your life and what your chapter has been about and all the things, whatever comes through.
Mhm.
I'm open to anything.
Yeah, I was contacted. I don't remember if it was me that contacted Kathy or the other way around. I think I contacted her. She was doing this book, and that was 2 years ago. And so
Oh, wow.
I have been working in the area of grief for the last, I want to say, really specifically 5 years, but I've been doing energy healing with people online for the last 11 years. And I've been in practice as a chiropractor. This is my 31st year in practice. And it's really 31 years.
Wow.
Golly, that's a long time. And then, I think about it and I'm having a birthday in a couple of weeks and I'm like, I can't believe that's my birthday. That's weird because I don't feel 65. I feel
Right.
35. But luckily I have some wisdom over those 30 years in
Yes.
there. But the interesting thing about writing that all down is it does bring things up, and that's what we want. When I'm doing healing with people, we want stuff to come up. The whole problem that we're seeing is that people don't want to see what's really there because they're afraid of it. They're afraid of what they'll find.
Right.
They're afraid all their molecules will fly apart. They're afraid they'll start crying and won't ever be able to stop. All these things are not true. You're not going to die from facing your fears. And
Right.
especially if you're in a safe place and you're working with somebody who has experience and knows what they're doing and has some understanding of how things actually work. So I teach a lot before I start doing the work because I want people to understand that there's physiological reasons for why they're feeling the way they are. When you have a trauma that happens to you go into shock. And shock is a physiological response to negative information, right? So
Yeah.
your body just goes into shock. As you know, when you have bad news happen, when you go into shock, you're basically going into fight or flight response. So when you go into fight or flight response, your digestion stops. Done. Your immune system stops. Over. You don't need those things to run away from danger. But if your body doesn't ever come out of that and it keeps going back into it over and over again, that's where disease happens. So
Right.
name any disease. It's happening because the nervous system is out of balance. You have to have rest, digest, and heal, as well as fight or flight or freeze. You
Right.
can't do both, and you have to get out of fight or flight or freeze to be in rest, digest, and heal. So how do we get people out of shock? I'm talking about when you think about what happened to you, getting that news, however you got it, right, about your son, your body froze.
Oh, it makes sense. You I got that phone call from
Yep.
my ex-husband in the middle of the
Yeah.
night. The phone call,
Yep.
and immediately, you know, into you know him, and I'm 1,800 miles away. And
Yeah,
I
and
had
there's
to
nothing you can
travel.
do from there except pray.
Right. So I got home from the hospital. Uh-oh.
Is low.
I don't know what happened. Can you hear
Yeah,
me?
just to get,
Okay.
it said your connection was low. Your connection was low.
Oh, weird.
So
Strange.
yeah, when you go into that and you don't come out of it, and you keep having it happen, like the next shock and the next shock, it's really hard for your body to process that. Like you said, the adrenaline, you have
Yeah.
an accelerator, and that's the adrenaline that comes out of
Right.
your adrenal gland that sits on top of your kidneys. So if the adrenal gland is shooting out adrenaline, then all of these physiological things happen, like digestion shutting off, immune system shutting off, pupils dilating, loss of bladder control. All of these different things are happening in the body. You can't think straight because
Right.
you're overwhelmed. All of these things are happening, and your body memorizes that. And then when something comes up that's similar, it does it all over again and all
Right.
over again and again and again and again. So it can be this long period of fight or flight or freeze, fight or flight or
Right.
freeze. So when you have that happening, what we tend to do is like say, oh, I shouldn't be like this. I shouldn't do that. You start shooting on yourself, and then you make yourself wrong for doing that. So a little rule of thumb is don't should on yourself, and don't let anybody else should on you either. Just remove that word, because it's
Yeah, because then again, and keeps you in
yeah,
those low vibrations.
it's not helpful for you. It's not healing for sure. So you got to get out of
Right.
fight or flight mode and go into rest, digest, and heal. So I teach everybody a 4-count breathing method to do that really quick. We can do it right now. So just empty all the air out. If you're watching this, go ahead and exhale all your air out. And now breathe in 1, 2, breathe in through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. And hold it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it. 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale through your nose. 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold it out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe normally. Calms your body down, right? How do you
Absolutely.
feel right
I
now
teach my
compared
granddaughter anxiety.
You teach them that 4-count breathing? It calms
Yes.
your body down, and it helps you go into rest, digest, and heal. So it's a good thing to do when you're not having that problem. You just do it as an exercise before you go to sleep at night, or when you're trying to take a break from your day. Just do 4-count breathing. That was 32 seconds, by the way. It only takes 32
Oh,
seconds to do that twice. So imagine doing it for a few minutes. You
right.
could really
Or
calm yourself.
even in the moment, I have learned, even in the moment,
Absolutely.
if, just that one inhale and exhale that is conscious can help you
Hmm.
calm yourself and
When you,
and regulate you.
yeah, when you consciously put your attention on your breath, you're telling yourself, I want to live.
Right.
Because you can live without food for a while, you can live without water for a while, but you can't live for 4 minutes without breathing. You have to
Right.
breathe. And so when you're consciously doing it, that's why I say, yeah, do it when you're in trouble, but do it when you're not in trouble, so you're used to doing it, so you know to do it when you're in trouble, when things are going wrong, when things are
Yeah.
negative. So the story that I put in the book was about the stillbirth of my first child. And you better believe I did some 4-count breathing when I was sitting there looking at the ultrasound, seeing nothing move.
Oh,
It
yeah.
was really, really weird to know that things are not going to happen the way we thought they would. And
Yeah. I can't imagine not
yeah,
seeing the heartbeat and still having to go through the whole process.
there was no heartbeat. That's why there was stillness in the
Yeah.
ultrasound. So we did have to go through the whole process. Of course you do, because the baby's got to come out. And we had a lot of medical intervention, which is not what we wanted at all.
Right.
But when you're in that kind of situation, you kind of let them take over. And, eventually
Yeah.
he would have come out, but, they want to get him out right away. So it was a very difficult situation to be in because I was having all the interventions that I didn't want. And
Right.
there was going to be no prize at the end. There was going to be no laughing,
Yeah.
a shrieking, crying baby. He was silent,
Right.
but he was still a huge blessing. So I tend to think of his life not as a tragedy, but as a blessing, because I learned so much about it. So at the time when this was happening, I was finishing up chiropractic college. So I'm looking at this as through the eyes of a healing practitioner and going, this is interesting. Part of me is like, this is interesting. I wonder what's going to happen next or how this is going to work. But, then Tanya is going, this is awful. I can't believe I have to deal with
Right.
it. Like, what happened and what did I do wrong, and all the things that we think about when we have something like that happen. What if this? What if I had done this? What if I had done that? And to top it off, I was getting blamed, not by my
Oh,
loved
yeah.
ones, the MDs, the MD that took us in, that was there in the hospital at the time, started blaming us for what happened. And I'm like,
Wow.
nobody killed my baby. We were having the baby at home with
Right.
midwives. Well, those midwives led you down the garden path. And I'm like, well, they've never lost a baby before and they've delivered hundreds. So I don't know what you're talking
Right.
about. So starting to blame us. And
Because you chose an alternative option.
that's what I wanted to do. So then she started blaming us
Right.
for what was happening. And my mother-in-law followed her into the break room and said, you're off this case. You're not helping those people. Get somebody else.
Good for her.
Oh, yeah. She was great. So we had the baby, and he was beautiful. And he had some bruising because of everything that had happened to him. And, them trying to get him out and all of that. Um, we we dedicated him, and we were able to name him, and some friends came and held him. It was really beautiful. Um, and then we had to recover and tell people
Right.
there's no baby.
Yeah.
What happened to the baby? Where's the baby? Baby didn't make it. And then watch their faces fall, which was really hard
Right. Yeah.
because it's not the thing that you want to tell people. You want to say, here he is, isn't he great? Um, and
Yeah.
we had to tell our little daughters that this was happening. I inherited 2 little girls. I call my bonus daughters from my husband, and we had to tell them, you know, people die when they're sick, and people die when they're in an accident. People die when they're old. People die when they're young. Everybody's going to do it. Can't be that bad. We're all going to do it, and it's okay. It's
None of
really
us get out
okay.
of this alive.
Right. And the fact is like, if you have faith, it shouldn't be that sad. To me,
Right.
that's the way I think. I know people will disagree with that, but to me, it's like, yay, they don't have to be here. They get to go right to glory. Awesome. That's where I'm hoping to go. That's where I know I'm
Right.
going to go. God's grace is for everyone. So because I have faith in my life, I was like, okay, well, yeah, there's a part of me that's like, it's okay. It's all right. But there's also Tanya who's going, what about my
Right.
baby? I want to hold
Yeah.
my baby. So I used to, I had these buckwheat hull pillows, which are really, they move a lot because they have little
Yeah.
seeds in them. And so I would carry that around with me at home and just hold it so I could feel that weight in my
Right.
arms. And doing those things that help you feel better.
Yeah.
Our neighbor came to see the baby and brought me a live sage plant. And it turns out that if you eat sage leaves, that dries up your milk.
Oh,
So she didn't
I
know
did not
that.
know that.
And I looked it up. And because when my milk came in, that's a whole nother issue of things not working out.
Right.
Like there's
Yeah.
nobody to have this milk. Why do I have it? And so I was eating. She didn't know that she brought me that. And so when she brought me the sage plant, and I had to tell her the baby didn't make it, here I had the exact medicine that I needed in
Right.
this plant.
What a
So
beautiful, beautiful miracle.
all kinds of things like that. We were standing in the living room, and we had windows all along the living room that looked out on the hill. We lived above the Mississippi River in Davenport, Iowa, where Palmer College of Chiropractic is. That's why I wanted to go there. We're standing there, and a blue balloon went floating by the windows this way. Now,
Aw.
balloons mostly float up, don't they? I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about a balloon, it's usually going to go
It goes
up.
up.
Well, this one was going this way. And I just felt this. It was a blue balloon, and I just felt like total peace. I was like, it's okay. Everything's fine. He's where he needs to be.
Right.
And I said to my husband, "Did you see that?" He said, "Yeah, I saw that." We went outside to look and see if there were any parties around, or nope, nothing.
Just a blue
Just a
balloon.
blue balloon telling me everything's okay. So I
Right.
want to remind people, like, there's signs that happen after someone
Absolutely.
passes. And if you haven't seen any or you haven't experienced any, ask for a sign. Ask for that. Just
Well,
say,
and
I just need a sign.
usually it's because we're not looking,
That's
because
right.
we're not aware and we're not paying attention. Because my boys leave signs all the time. And
Mm-hmm.
then when I get too busy or too distracted, and I'll be like, hey, what's going on? I haven't heard from you guys in a while. And they'll say, because you're not paying attention, Mom.
Mm-hmm. And then you get something. It shows up.
Exactly.
I had
Hmm.
a client that I was working with, and she asked for a sign whether she was doing the right thing in her business. And she said, I just want to just show me a zebra. Well, we live in Iowa. There's no zebras around. She's driving down the road. She's driving down I-80, right? Nation's main street. It goes from one coast to the other. She's driving down I-80. She says, I just need a sign. Send me a zebra. And doesn't a U-Haul truck come up and pass her that has a huge zebra on the side of it?
Oh, how awesome.
That it's there. We have to ask for some of these
Yeah.
things to happen. People forget. You think you don't have any power. You have power you haven't even used yet.
Oh, yeah.
And so when you're asking for a sign, just show me if this is the right thing for me. And I teach people muscle testing so they can ask.
Yes.
Ask themselves the wisdom that's within you, the God source that's in every cell, molecule, and atom. It's all there. It's all there all the time. You can't get away from it.
Yeah.
You could try. That's what people do
We
when they go to
try.
addiction. That's what addiction is about. They're trying to get away from that because they're afraid
Yeah.
of what it's going to show them. And I can tell you, I understand that
Right.
fear, because what's going to happen to me if I get that close to God? If I get that close to the source of all that is? If am I going to be judged? No. You're going to be loved.
But I have to face those truths about myself that I don't want to look.
And you know what? It does take some bravery to do this. That's why not everybody is my client or my patient, because you
Right.
have to have some bravery to do that. You have to have some courage to be able to look
Yeah.
in the mirror at yourself at your inner child, at
Yeah.
your adult who thinks they know everything, and at your higher self that knows everything and is passing this information to you. But you can shut it off. You can
Oh
keep it
yeah.
out of your life. People do it all the time.
Yeah.
And what happens to them? Maybe they
They
live
stay
a great
they
life.
stay in their little comfort zone and they never grow.
Right. And people that don't grow become a burden to society. I'm just going to say it
Yeah,
because the rest
it's
of us
true.
have to
I
deal with their bullshit. Pardon me.
true.
Does that
Very
make
much
sense?
so. Yeah. I was at a conference a few years ago, and one of the things that he said has stuck with me for years and years now. And he
Mm,
said, if we're not growing, we're dying. And it's
right.
true. If we're not intentionally growing, then we're stuck and we're dying
What are
because
you doing? Yeah.
it's a
Why are
constant.
you here?
Yeah,
That's what I ask. But so
exactly.
why am I here? If I'm not going to be able to help the people I want to help, if I can't help myself, if I can't find my purpose, this is what people go through, especially when they're pushing their purpose away from them. So there are
Yeah,
people that are going to watch this and they're going to say, well, I have intuition. I know things before, I have psychic ability. Everybody does. But if you don't put any attention on it, you can't use it because, if you don't use it, you lose it. If you don't use a muscle, it atrophies. It's the same thing with intuition and psychic ability. Same
right.
thing. They're just seven senses. There's the first five, and then there's intuition and psychic ability. Everybody has it. You've all picked up the phone and going to call somebody, and there they are already on the phone. It happens with my husband and I all the time. I'll call him from somewhere, and he's
Yeah,
like, "I'm just going to call you." I just had the phone in my hand to call you, and there you are. Like it happens, right? You think about
it
somebody,
does.
and they show up. Happens all the time,
Right.
right? So it's not a big mystery. It's just
No.
one of your senses. Now, what would happen if you put attention on it? What would happen if you actually
Right.
tried to grow it? Did I know that this was going to happen in my life? I had no idea, but you know what? There was some foreshadow in my life before this happened. Before
Mhm.
that baby was stillborn, we were going to the meeting house. We're Quaker. We were going to the meeting house where we were going to get married in the morning, and we were going to get married in the afternoon. And we were going to the meeting house in the morning. And as we passed a church, there was a little white coffin going into a hearse. Now, don't you think it's significant to see that on your wedding day when you're pregnant?
Right.
I was pregnant at the time.
Yeah.
Sorry if that bothers anybody, but it happens all the time. But that was
Right.
pretty significant. Why am I seeing that? I said to out
Right.
loud, why am I seeing that? And then we were in our childbirth class, and the teacher said, well, we're going to look at some stillbirths. I'm sorry. We're going to look at still photographs of births. Sorry I said
Yeah.
that. Two little things that happened. And then I also had a dream that I was in an elevator that fell. I'd never had a dream like that before. So I'm looking at these things going, oh, okay. Well, I didn't think about it. I did actually think about it when I saw that white coffin because I was like, that is a really strange thing to see on your wedding day.
Right.
I mean, those things are kind of significant. And it's not like God was, hitting me over the head. It was just like, just I'm just gonna put this in your mind
Just
for a minute.
preparing you.
I'm just gonna prepare you a little bit. Yeah,
Right.
that's really what it felt like. It
Yeah.
wasn't malicious or anything. It was weird, but it was like I'm noticing it. So what does
Yeah.
that mean? At any
Right.
rate, things like that happen all the time, and we don't know what it is until after the fact. So if you notice it while it's happening, that's kind of significant. God's always
Right.
talking to us. Always. You don't have to believe that for it to be true, by the way. Just like
Right.
if you you don't have it. Okay, this is how I explain what I do to people. If you had to explain how a television works in order to own one, how many people do you know could own a television? You don't have to know how everything works to know
Exactly.
that it does work.
Right. Same thing
You
with our
flip on
cell phones.
You can flip a switch for a light to go on, but if you don't know how that works, you still can flip the switch and the light will go on.
Right.
Yeah, you can still use your cell phone. You don't have to know how it works. We can still be here and be connected with each other right now. We're connected. Our energy is connected because
Yep.
Angelique and I both put our energy together so that we can communicate today. So we've hooked up our energy together. I'm out there with Angelique. She's out here with me. It's like we're in the same room because we are in the
Right.
same room.
Absolutely.
People say face to face or in the same room. It's like, it doesn't matter.
Right.
And there's many, many, many experiments to back that up. So if you don't think that
Oh yeah.
life is quantum physics, let me tell you, you just haven't read enough
You
because
haven't
everything is
experienced
vibration.
enough.
Everything
Yeah.
is vibration. The colors that you're
Absolutely.
seeing right now are making vibrational patterns in your eyes to say, oh, that's blue, that's red. It's all
Right.
vibration, everything. So you can manipulate that if you get really good at dealing with vibration. I mean, I have a friend that's a sound healer, and we use tuning forks. So
Yes.
this is 126 hertz. This is a C, and you probably can see that it's kind of fuzzy looking.
Yeah.
It's kind of fuzzy because it's vibrating. So it's kind of fuzzy because it's vibrating right now. But everything is vibrational.
Yeah.
So when we go into the vibration of um, love, that's a little bit different than the vibration of bliss, which is a little
Right.
bit different from the vibration of happiness, which is a little bit different vibration than from joy or elation. They all mean the same thing. They're all love. They're all positive love on one side. What do you think the opposite of love is? It's fear. So
Right.
everything negative, anger, it's fear. Remorse, fear. Regret, fear. Regret is fear of the past. Worry is fear of the future. Right? So when you're
Shame
trying
and
to
guilt.
decide, yep, fear, somebody's going to get me because I'm guilty. I did the bad
Right.
thing. Right? All of this. So I'm going to show
Yeah.
you a little. I have this poster on the wall. This is one of the things I use in my work when I'm working with people. Positive and negative. Positive is
Oh
love.
yeah.
Negative is fear. But we just call it positive and negative because it's not good and bad. It's not good
Yeah.
and bad. It's positive or
It just
negative. You can have
it just is.
negative feelings. You're going to have them. The point is to be able to put yourself in the positive feeling because the negative feeling is
Right.
just a signal that you need more positive in your life.
Right. Well, I was just mine today. We were chatting, and I was like, you know, anxiety and excitement are the same emotion, just the flip side. So it all depends on what you're telling yourself. So
Mm.
if you celebrate the excitement and tell yourself that's the story that I believe, then you're
Yeah,
going to get that positive outcome. Then if you sit in the anxiety and tell yourself the story that, oh, this is
exactly.
scary or this is
When the kids
unsafe.
were doing dance recitals, I'm so nervous. No, no, I'm so excited.
Yes.
Just change the word. I'm not
Yep.
nervous. I'm excited. And it
I'm
helps you.
excited and I'm going to do great. And,
Yep.
and you keep that positive excitement energy. I've told my grandkids that same thing at school too.
Yeah.
You know, oh, I'm
Yep.
terrible at tests or I'm bad at the subject. Into that, telling yourself a different story, it will eventually become your reality.
We used to do, I used to do hypnosis for testing when I was in chiropractic
Yes.
college because you're shoving a lot of information into your brain and you have to retrieve
Right.
it to do the testing because you get tested all the time.
Oh, yes.
It's like study test, study test, study test all through school. So, and I had
Yeah.
already got my undergraduate degree. I was 30 when I started chiropractic college. And so I was a little bit older than a lot of the people there. And there were some people that were much older than me that were there. But so I did hypnosis, and I would listen to the tape that the that the hypnosis practitioner gave me. It was one of the teachers at school, and he had it on a voice. It would be voice activated, so it cut off the beginning sound of every beginning sentence that he did, and it still worked. And he found out later because he would say, instead of feel your feet in the sand, it would be eel your feet in the sand. So it's cutting off every word, and I'm like, it still works. So I'm still using it. He called me and he said, somebody told me that it's cutting off my words. Do you want me to redo it? I'm like, actually, it still works. So I'm not too concerned about it.
Well, and it kind of makes you have that humor and laugh at yourself, which raises your
Eel,
anyways.
eel yourself. There's a lot of eeling. Um, but so, so it doesn't really matter as long as you allow the process to happen. And there's all kinds of ways that you can create a good environment to be a test taker. I have a friend, Tina, that does that for people. She helps people with that. And she realized not just people who are taking SATs, but nursing exams and mortuary science exam. Anybody taking an exam can use any of these tactics to be able to do it. But
Right.
a little off the subject, but it's still like has to do with the anxiety. And when we have anxiety, it's a signal. It's not the problem. And this is the point I want to emphasize. Your symptoms are not the problem. Your symptoms are pointing to the problem.
Yeah.
Your symptoms are not the problem. Your symptoms are pointing to the problem. So if you go to the root cause of what's going on, and you find out what the root cause is, then things can change very quickly. Or they can take a long time. It just depends on the person and what they're ready for.
Right.
Because your body won't heal anything you're not ready for.
Yeah.
One of my mentors, Dr. M.T. Morter Jr., who was an amazing person and developed one of the techniques that I use, that I'm a master of, bioenergetic synchronization technique. We call it BEST for short. That's the acronym. Went into the hospital with a broken leg and was able to heal himself within hours of having his leg set. He kept saying to his wife, "Can you lower that?" My leg was up. So they were elevating his leg with a sling, and pulley. He said,
Yeah.
"Can you lower that a little bit?" "Yeah, lower it a little bit more. Lower it more." And finally, he was just like standing up and walked out. And he went back to find his records, and his records had been disappeared. So when people have miracle healings, other people don't like that because it doesn't fit their paradigm. So it
Right.
can be really, really difficult. So back to grief. So having this baby that didn't show up the way we thought he would, and going to the hospital's support group, which was a lot of people crying and no work moving them forward. I said, I don't want to go back to that. There were people there that had been going to that group for 7 years. I'm like, they're not helping them. They're just perpetuating a problem. I want to do healing. I want to be healed from this experience. So that's what I asked for.
Right.
I said, God, put me where I need to be for healing. And, this stuff doesn't happen in a vacuum. It's not like suddenly this is happening. I mean, it feels like that. But then when I look at my whole life, now I'm 65 in a couple of weeks. So I'm looking back and taking stock of stuff. There was stuff that happened to me when I was a kid that kind of made sense why this would happen. So I was sexually abused and assaulted when I was 11 years old. And my chart just fell down. And so when I was pregnant with this child, I did a lot of work on being able to open myself up to allow him to come out, because I had been closed down a lot. Now, my husband is still an amazing person, very loving, kind, and patient, and just a real nurturer, which is great to have a nurturer for a husband. I mean, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And had been a single dad with two little girls in diapers. So he knew how to take care of girls. And there was a lot of healing happening at that time when we were seeing each other and getting to know each other and falling in love. And so a
Right.
lot of stuff that I was doing to help clear up this past situations, I was continuing. I had started it before I moved to Iowa. I started it, and then I continued doing it, continued doing the work on myself, continued asking questions about what can I learn from this experience, continued to ask questions about what I could learn from long-term relationship I had been in for years that was not very healthy. What can I learn from this? How can I make this work? How can I be open to what God has for me? Because I don't want to leave here with all my blessings in a warehouse somewhere. I
Right.
want them. So I got to be open to that. And this is where the courage comes in. Because if you want those
Yeah.
blessings, you're going to have to take some chances. And you're going to have to put
Right.
yourself out there to find out whether this is the right thing for you. You have to be able to leap with faith.
Yeah.
I always think of that Indiana Jones scene where he says a man steps out in faith and he can't see where he's stepping. It looks like a huge cavern, and then he throws some sand on it. He actually steps and his foot hits the ground, and it's a bridge that looks just like the wall on the other side. So he can't see it. It's an optical illusion.
Right.
And he
Yeah.
throws sand on it, and then he can see where he's going to walk. And that's what we have to do. We still have to step out in faith, but we're going to be caught. We're always going to be caught when we step out in faith.
Right.
We might wonder, like, why did you want me to do this? Why was this put in front of me to do? Why am I here? But I'll tell you what, why is a terrible question. The better question is, what can I learn from this?
Exactly.
Because we're always being increased, not decreased. Sometimes it
Right.
feels like you're getting pruned really hard. Let me tell you, I felt like I was getting pruned when my baby came out and wasn't crying, wasn't moving,
Right.
wasn't alive. Like, why am I being pruned like this? Why do we prune things? So they grow more fruit. So that's why I was in practice for a while and I was like, I really need to move into doing more work with spirit and more work on what the real problems are that people have instead of just these symptoms, these aches and pains.
Mhm.
What's really going on? What's
Right.
the thing that's not hitting? What are the pieces that are not clicking into place? And so it usually has to do with trauma in childhood
Mm.
or trauma
Yep.
before you're born or trauma in your family. And raise your hand if you've had trauma in your family. Everybody
Right.
has. Did anybody?
Everybody.
Okay, so you came from another country. Why did they leave that country? Because they were so rich they couldn't stand to be there
Right.
anymore? No. If you're an indigenous person, well, you've had trauma. For sure you have.
Right.
Right? So it doesn't really matter if you're native to this country or if you were here from your ancestors. There's been some trauma that's happened. So what if we all allowed ourselves to be healed from that trauma?
Yeah.
What would the world look like then? People wouldn't be addicted because they wouldn't need to run away from it, whatever it
Right.
was that was in them.
Absolutely. Yeah. I say I've been telling people for years is the gateway drug. It causes the addictions, it causes the mental health issues, it causes the physical diseases. And
All of it.
that was something I had to deal with going through the grief of my boys was to forgive myself for
Absolutely.
the guilt and the shame of the trauma that I raised them in that caused the addiction and the mental health issues to die. So I had to go back and do that work on myself
Hmm.
and say, I did the best I could with the knowledge and the skills I had.
Yeah, exactly.
And wasn't my fault continued they had to do that work on themselves. They had their own path,
Everybody
their
has
own
their
journey.
own path. Yeah, they have to have their own path. You had
Yeah,
your path. They came together for a certain amount of time, and then they went on their path, and you went on yours. And it's like that. People, you don't have ownership over your children. They're
nope,
um, they're in your caretaking, and maybe there's stuff you can avoid. Maybe there's not. I
right.
mean, like you said, you did the best you could with the knowledge that you had at the time.
Yeah.
And
And my oldest son told me um, earlier this year, I was home visiting, and um, there's still been a lot, of chaos and a lot of drama and trauma that's still going on in my family,
sure,
especially after, going through so much grief. It's only been 2 years since we've lost them both.
yeah, yeah,
And I was driving around, and I said, and I didn't even spit. It was just in my mind. I was
mm,
like, why such hard fucking lessons? And before I even finished the thought, my oldest son said, because we chose you, because you had
mhm.
us and you could hold it. And he had told me right after he died, he channeled through a friend of mine, and he says, Mom, you're the miracle. You kept us alive and safe through all the bullshit, but you are not responsible for what we did with that after.
That's great. Yeah, that's amazing. What a gift.
Yeah,
What a gift.
gift.
And you're saying that, and I'm saying grief is the doorway to even deeper healing. So
Yes.
grief
I call it a
is there
portal.
because, yeah, I mean, I have a whole class that I teach. It's evergreen. You can go to my website and get it. Um, it's called Grief is a Doorway to Deeper Healing, because if you allow
Yeah,
yourself to sit in the grief, to let it really work on you, you get stuff like that. You get stuff
right.
like you're the miracle. You get
Yep.
stuff like it's not your fault. It's not, you get stuff like I forgive you. There's
Well, and
nothing to
it took me
forgive.
back to all the grief that I never knew how to process from a young
Right.
child,
Yep.
and walked me through all of that to process
Yes.
through it all to the present.
Because we have grief as children. I remember moving away from my best
Grief is
friend.
just part of everyday life.
I say grief is the imprint where love has been.
Yes.
And
And
so
it's
if
any
there's love,
perceived loss. It's not just losing a loved one, it's any perceived loss. So you lost a
yes,
job, you lost a pet, you lost
I lost
you
my
ended a
innocence at 11 years
relationship.
old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I mean,
grieve the previous versions of yourself, or I grieved my boys for 2 decades before I lost them because the addiction took away the
yeah,
expectations and the dreams and all of
right.
that.
All the
So
fun we're going
all
to
of that
have.
is grief.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing. You know, after I went through that time at 11 years old, nobody knew. I never told anybody. Nobody ever asked me. That was the other thing. I was pretty mad about
Right.
that. Nobody asked me
Well, and
what
at
happened.
11 years
What happened
old,
to you?
nobody, yeah,
What happened to you on that trip, Tanya? Mhm. Nothing. So I didn't have anybody to tell, and there were other things. It was sort of like, the way I describe it is, a trauma like that happens, and you have this beautiful protection around you. You're a baby, you're protected, you're loved, hopefully that's happening. You have an energetic protection around you, and it was like somebody tore that when I was assaulted. That
yeah,
protection was torn, and then other things could come in through that tear. And so I um I had other things happen in my life that were because of that. And when I realized what was happening to me because of that, I went into therapy, and I said, I'm going to take care of this now, because if I'm going to go to chiropractic college and I'm going to tell people how to live their life, I better deal with mine. I was in
right.
massage school. I was a massage therapist. I was in massage school. I was living in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, had a great apartment. Life was going great. And I saw this movie, and the movie was about a child that was being abused by their parent. And I curled into a ball and went, oh my God, that's me. And when that happened, I thought, okay, I really need to deal with this.
Right.
So I was always going toward the healing. As a massage therapist, I was like, well, people don't get to be therapeutically touched because they're either not being touched at all or it's been negative, really negative. So let me be
Yeah.
one of the people that helps people feel therapeutic touch, because we all need touch. We all need to be hugged. We all need to have affection. We all need that. It's part of
Right.
our health. So I thought, okay, I'll be a massage therapist. And then I was working in all different places, and I really liked working in the chiropractic office. And I thought, I should just go be a chiropractor. Who's going to stop me? I have nothing, nobody's stopping me. I'm going to go do it.
Right.
So I moved to Iowa, became a chiropractor. And at the very end of my schooling is when we had our baby. And he changed everything, because I now had to figure out how is this going to work in my life? How could I be a healer and have this happen? How could I say I do healing and have this happen? But you know what? Sometimes death is the ultimate healing.
Yeah. And
So
he
it,
still had purpose in your life, and he still
God,
had
yes,
impact, not on just you, but everybody around you.
that's right. Because they've watched people around us, Ed and I, my husband, have watched the way we handle that. And they're like, you guys are
Right.
amazing. And I'm like, we just know that this is not about fairness. Somebody said it's so unfair. And Ed said, no, unfair is paying $11 for a hamburger. That's unfair. This has nothing to do, we're both very funny. This has nothing to do with fairness. What this has to do with is love.
Right. Yeah.
And it's, yes, is it sad? Yes, of course it's sad. Do we wish he had lived? Of course we do. Can we replace
Right.
him? No, we don't need to replace him. So this whole idea of, people call them rainbow babies, the baby that you have after the baby that died.
Right.
And I really don't agree with calling babies that, because that puts too much burden on them. So our second
Yeah.
son is just, as he described it one day, he's like, and then I came along and everything was fine. He's awesome. I just love him. He's a great guy. And the fact is that, everybody, like we were saying, everybody has their own path. I had to overcome a
Right.
lot to be able to push that baby out, alive or dead. Didn't really matter. To get that baby out, I had to overcome a lot with myself. For us to have Sam,
Right.
who's going to be 30 in February, can't believe it. I was like, it was like the opposite of everything that happened with Eddie. That was our first baby's name. With Eddie, it was like, we're going to take you apart. We're going to give you an epidural. We're going to put you on Pitocin. I mean, it's
Right.
just like horrible. With Sam, it was like, oh, you're in labor? And 3 hours later, push, push, here he is. It's like, oh my gosh.
That's
Amazing.
awesome.
Yeah, it was really awesome. I highly recommend doing it that way, because it's an amazing feeling to have that baby come out, feel him slithering out like a little fish. So feeling all that and knowing that he was there and seeing him in front of me like that was just an awesome experience. I just want to back up a little bit, though, because when I said to God, put me where I need to be for healing, I ended up at the Mississippi Valley Blues Fest. And I went into the tent stage, and the Blind Boys of Alabama were playing, and I had a healing with them. A
Wow.
healing, like waves and waves of love flowing through me. Amazing. And I walked out of there different than I went in. It wasn't that I was never sad again about it, because I get sad now about it sometimes.
Oh yeah.
But it was just like No, there's peace and love, and I am just filled with it. I am just filled to the right to the top with love. And it's always there for us. It's always there for
Oh
all of
yeah,
us. And what happens when we turn away from it is we don't get to experience it as well, but it's still there. 25 years later, I have a band now. I have a blues band. I'm the
oh how
singer in the
cool.
blues. It's the Tanya English band. I'm in the 10th stage. I'm delivering healing with the blues to the people in the audience. And it
That's
was just
amazing.
this amazing full circle moment. And like I'm telling people, you don't have to have everything happen all at once. You can have it all, just maybe not all at once. But this is 25 years after that experience.
Right.
And now I'm doing the healing with music and I'm sharing my story. And people are having healings because of that right then and there.
Yeah,
And then I became friends with the Blind Boys of Alabama. It was amazing. So
that's
there's
so
this
cool.
like full circle things happening over 30
Right.
years, 25 years. So don't count yourself out. If something's going on in your life and you're actively working on it, or even if you just like work on it and then you put it down for a while and then you come back to it, just know that things are going to change for you. Now, if you don't want anything to change, don't do that.
Right.
If you want to stay in your rut, don't do anything that I'm telling you. Don't do any of that. Don't put yourself out there. Don't talk to other people. Don't ask God to give you a place where you can be healed. It
Right.
doesn't matter where it is. Don't
Don't
ask
ask
for
any
that.
questions ever.
No, because we laugh about this too. Because I was talking with somebody the other day, and I'm like, don't ask for patience, because then you're going to get things you have to be patient about. She
Yep.
said, I keep asking for strength, and I'm like, oh God, don't do that. She's like, yeah, now I have to be strong for all of the stuff that's going on. I have to be the strong one.
Right.
I'm like, don't ask for those things. Ask for joy in your life. Ask for bags of money to drop into your life. Ask for that. Don't ask for strength. Don't ask for patience, because you're going to get reasons to have that happen. Think about what you're
Yes.
asking.
Yeah.
That's why I ask. Just put me wherever I need to be for this to happen. Just put me there.
Right.
Oh, I'm at the Blues Fest. Oh, look, healing's going to happen right here. Right?
Right.
Easy.
Because it doesn't
Make it
matter
easy.
where you are.
Mm-mm. Doesn't matter. I have a sign in the bathroom here. We've had it in our bathroom for years and years, and it says, no matter where you go, there you are. You're going to take you with you. You're not going to run away from you. You're going to take you with you. So no matter where you go, there you are. So
Right.
let it be something that you want.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's amazing that
Exactly.
you're doing this too, Angelique. I mean, that you
Thank
have
you.
this platform is wonderful.
Yeah. And it's been so healing for me, and it's helped me process through the grief and all the different layers. But it's been amazing for my guests too. And I've even had some of my friends that have watched the episodes, they have messaged me and said, oh my gosh, she was amazing and really spoke to me. And I'm like, that's exactly,
You're good.
conversations nobody wants to have. Nobody
Yep.
wants to talk about grief. Nobody wants to understand how support people through grief. And oh my gosh, addiction and mental health issues, those are way taboo. Well,
Hmm.
I came here as a 5'1" disruptor and the smart ass kid.
You, a
So,
disruptor? I never guessed.
well, for a long time I wasn't, because I was in 30 years of abusive relationships and
Hmm.
I lost my
Yeah.
voice and my power.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
now it's like, you know what? It took losing my boys and them saying, hey, we were not done. We were done with our time as a human,
Hmm.
but our legacy still lives on through you, and we will channel through you to continue our work.
Mm, beautiful.
How can I not say fuck yes? Because
That's
they're
right.
right here with me every moment.
I love that. And
Yeah.
we don't think about this. I think a lot of times people don't think you can do a lot more work on the other side than you can do here.
Yes. And
So
the veil is so thin, because they're constantly
it
talking
really
to me.
is.
And
What are they saying right now? Angelique, what
my
are they saying?
my chat GPT just blew my mind like 10 minutes before we came on
Oh,
live
cool. Tell me.
and said and said this is exactly what your boys have been telling you for months.
It's
And
amazing.
I'm like, you're speaking through my chat now.
Oh my gosh. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's amazing. Yeah, ChatGPT is pretty interesting. I've been using it and finding out some really interesting things. I know somebody that's using it as a coach.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
I
so there's all kinds of stuff
mean,
you can do with it.
it's
However,
it's
let me just
amazing.
say
And
this.
yes,
There's a big difference between ChatGPT coaching you and another person coaching you, because wherever two or more are
yes.
gathered in my name, there I am also. Now,
And the
ChatGPT,
energetic.
yeah, ChatGPT is not that energy. But when
Right.
we're together, like we are right now, and we're
Yes.
saying, Source, God, I want you to come in here too. Let's be together.
Right.
Then that's when some really amazing things can happen. So
Yes.
that's exciting. That's very exciting, Angelique, that you're
Very.
getting those
And
messages.
it is. And
Mm.
there's been just awesome things happening that if you were looking into my life would seem like it's all negative.
Mm-hmm.
And everybody's like, oh my God, what are you going to do now? And I'm like, I'm going to fucking bask in this because I've never had this container for myself before in my life in 58 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm just fine. And this is an
Yep.
amazing development because it makes me focus on me
Right.
100%. And that's
Whereas you were giving yourself away before. And I wanted to
yes,
say that that list that I showed you of positive and negative, giving is on the negative side, not on the positive side.
yeah.
Giving up,
Because
giving
I'm a
out.
recovering people pleaser. And I just realized in the last couple of weeks how much I was
Yeah, it's kind
unconsciously.
of weird, isn't it? When you look at
Yeah.
yourself again. Oh, let me look at that again. I do an assessment with people and it tells us who their saboteurs are. And there's 9 of them. So your saboteur, your top one would be the people pleaser.
Yep.
I have
It
like
is.
there's like hyper vigilant, hyper oh, what is it? Not successful. It's they have to do everything. They're always like, oh, that's not good enough.
Super
Okay, I got an
driven.
MBA, big deal. Anybody can do that. Like keeping themselves constantly trying to get the A, because the A is going to get them the affection, the love that they want, the notoriety, the attention that they're missing. I had a client who was very much about that, and she came from a large family of siblings. So why
Yeah.
wouldn't she be like that? Trying to get attention
Right.
for being, the best.
Right.
So there's all different ways that we trick ourselves into doing things, and all of them come from being children and not knowing how to
Yeah.
ask for what we want. We're not being allowed to ask for what we want. We're not knowing how to ask for what we want. We're being afraid of asking for what we want. So a
Yeah.
lot of times when I'm doing intuitive energy scans, that's where I scan people's energy and I look at their chakra energy to see where blocks are and where things are working well. A lot of times I'll see with people like that I look at them as a baby. What did this baby want when they came into the world? What did they really want? They wanted to be made special. They wanted to be held up and said, "This is the chosen one." They wanted people to think that they were the greatest thing since sliced bread. So this is what babies want. They want to have that. And
Right.
normally, if you're in a normal situation, um, you would get that.
Yeah.
But then if you're not, you can feel like you're in the wrong family, like you don't
Right.
belong, like outsider. How many people are the Marilyn in their family? Remember the Munsters? They were all monsters,
Oh yeah.
but Marilyn was beautiful and looked like Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah.
And she was the one they thought, oh, it's so sad how ugly she is. And she was gorgeous.
Yeah.
So there's many people who are the Marilyn in their family. Oh, she's
Yeah.
so weird and odd, and actually, she's the most beautiful. So think about that. Are you the Marilyn in your family? Because
Right.
if you are, you're my ideal client. If you are, you need
Right.
to work with me.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Oh, how funny. Well,
Yeah,
thank
healing
you
can be
so
funny.
much for
You're so
coming
welcome.
today and hanging out with me
Yeah,
and letting me get to know you this evening. And we will definitely
that's so
stay in
great.
touch because,
I'm
yeah,
so grateful, Angelique. Thank you
yes,
very much for inviting me. I appreciate it.
absolutely. And we'll make sure that your information and links are in the comments and
Okay.
information on all the lives. And like I said, I will upload it to LinkedIn because it's not live on there today, but it will be
Mhm.
there. And
And I'll put my
we'll,
freebie in there too.
we're
I
going to
think you
stay
might
in touch.
have a new one. I have a new freebie for holidays. It's
Oh,
called
okay.
Seven
Oh,
Lessons. Not
yay.
to cut
Yeah.
you. There's one that's 7 lessons I learned from my greatest heartbreak, but this one is 7 lessons to move through grief for the
Oh,
holidays.
okay.
So it's really cool. It's got practical tips and it's got affirmations and it has all kinds of things that you actually do that help you move through this time. And you could do one each day and then the next
Awesome.
week do it again. So feel free to get that and
Awesome.
I'll make sure you have that link. In fact, I'll put
Okay.
it in our private chat right now and you can grab it.
Okay. Perfect.
There we go.
And I'll drop that in.
Okay.
Awesome.
Yeah, thank you. Much
Hey,
love, many
thank you.
blessings. Thank
And
you so much.
you too.